Take a minute and imagine what it would be like if you were living in a place where everything was provided not by the government, but by performance. Imagine a place where everyone contributed through their own work, through their own thoughts, and through their own value creation to live in harmony and happiness and prosperity. What would that look like? Think about that for a minute. What would it look like if you woke up every morning, you looked out your window, and you saw this beautiful landscape and you knew that other people were waking up and looking out at that beautiful landscape and were seeing the same miraculous, beautiful landscape that you were seeing, and knew in their hearts that they had helped to create that, and that they, like you, were safe, secure, and would never have to be concerned about the safety of themselves or their loved ones for their lifetime. What would that look like? Imagine that everyone who lived there had found their essence, and they were living it, and they were contributing to the general well-being of their city or their town in which they lived. They were not being taxed. They were contributing what they could to help maintain the place that they lived in. You had a plumber, perhaps, or more, who was contributing his or her value by helping to maintain people's water running, waste running, wells, septics, whatever, operating. And in exchange for that, they had a home to live in. But perhaps the carpenter that lived there on the same village or area had built to the plumber's specifications, of course, because that would be how we would do this, right? Within the means of necessity, not in luxury. Imagine what that would look like. Imagine what it would look like if there were people in that same village who had of essence to grow things and to produce food and to perhaps produce livestock. Perhaps you had chickens there. Perhaps you had farm animals. Perhaps you had an organic agriculture. Perhaps you had aquaculture where you were raising catfish and crayfish and other things in an aquaculture environment. What would that look like? Of course, you would have probably someone like me who would be speaking about hope, your essence navigation system, and continuing to help people to grow spiritually. And there would be others like me who would contribute to the growth of our spiritualness, our spirituality together in this little town or city that we created. What would that look like? And what would it look like if we had our own school where someone who loved to teach was teaching our young the things they needed to know to get on in life? Perhaps our carpenter, who was living in the same place that we lived in, built the school. Perhaps we had a stonemason. Perhaps we have a roofer. And oh, by the way, these folks are not just working within the community in which we've established, but they're also going out into the other areas, in the other cities, and earning cash to bring back to help continue to maintain our paradise city, if you will. What if we had a charter boat captain? What if we had a treasure hunter? What if we had a miner? What if those people were out mining for gold and silver, precious gems, and bringing them back to add to the value of the community in which we were all living in? What would that look like, and how would that feel? If we all knew that we had solid assets, artwork in our little community, what would that look like? And what would it look like if there were those of us who were bringing in people from outside who were challenged to help them to become the people they were meant to be? What if the Hope Institute, is what we would call this, of course, what if the Hope Institute was bringing in young people who were challenged and teaching them how to be plumbers and carpenters and roofers and artists and teachers and charter boat captains and architects and builders, and sending them out into the world with a different view of life, with a different look at things than corrupt politicians might have of things, with a different view of how it is to live with pure love in your heart, because that's what the Hope Institute would be about. That's what this town would be about. What would it look like to you? And would you seriously consider such a thing? Could that be in your realm of thinking that you would consider coming into such a fold, in such a loving and caring place? It is my belief that this place would not have a preconceived notion of spirituality or religion, for that would only create seeds of hate. But it would be a place of spiritual enlightenment. It would not be a place where we would hold certain political beliefs, because that would just create hate as well. It would be a place where we live and create ideas. It would be a place where we cherish each other's lives. It would be a place where we would come back to a moral base of family, love, and caring, where we would help each other to overcome our issues and the things that we're thinking about with love, openness, and essence. Do you think that if we approach this with honesty in our hearts, omnipotence toward God in our love, and our pure love in our hearts, do you think that perhaps we could start a grassroots revolution by doing that together with a small group of us and expanding that into other areas? What would that look like to you? And would you be interested in devoting yourself to such a thing? Could you imagine yourself doing such a thing? I sure can. I've thought about it. You can ask my family about such a thing, because I've talked to them for years and dreaming about it and talking about it, about having this kind of a central family thing. But even now, I think so vastly about it that we could create such a thing. We wouldn't need more than maybe 100 acres, right, to be able to have little organic farming thing to help bring in funds to keep the thing going. We would need, a couple of lakes where we could do our our aquaculture. Have a little place where we could teach plumbing, teach roofing, teach electrical, teach people. We'd have our institute there on that 100 acres. We would have our houses for the core group to live and to prosper, and to teach others and send them out into the world to do the same thing again based on that model. What would that look like, and how would we do it? Well, I'm going to challenge you now, because this is something that I've been thinking about for a very long time, and it is something that I feel like it's time for us to do. I'm in the process of trying to establish a nonprofit to start trying to do some fundraising, to try to get some awareness going about what I want to do with this. I think it's a very valuable thing that we could do. I need support. I need people to get behind me with this who would, if nothing else, pledge that they would be interested in pursuing that there are some people perhaps that would relocate to such a place and live there and teach there and grow there and bring others there, bring their families there, raise their families there. If there are any of you out there who are interested in such a thing, let's get together and talk about it. Let's start doing some real talk about it. And then let's make some action. I am so passionate about this. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and now I'm asking you. If you think that you could imagine such a thing, don't worry about the details right now. Don't go, oh, it can't happen. Don't go, oh, I'd love it, but how in the world would we do it? Don't worry about that right now. If you believe that in your heart you could commit yourself to such a thing, let's get together. Contact Rick Mabe at nohypehope.com. That's my email. Share this video. Let's get some talk going. Let's see what we can make happen, okay? I love you guys. Let's get together. Thank you. Bye.